What's up, YouTube? Now, you see the title of this video and you see the picture on the screen. Now, you know, I'm about to really, once again, I'm gonna try to make this video real quick like I did my last one because I really just want to quickly address this foolishness. And like I said, you see the title of the video, so you already know what I'm about to talk about. In the picture on the screen, I will explain that at the end of the video because the individual that we're dealing with, once again, I have to continuously point this out because this is what her problem is. But you probably know if you can if you read this what's on the screen and you can go ahead and decipher what it means, then you probably already know. But I'm going to explain it in depth at the end of this video so that you can understand why I have this picture on the screen in the first place. But we're just gonna get right into this. This foolishness that is taking place on this black sector of YouTube, particularly I would say in this toxic space where you have these niggas doing all this toxic ass shit. When we're talking about, of course, like I said, you see the title of the video, when we're talking about this Cynthia G individual. Um, and I man, I really thought that my last two videos, I was saying I was gonna make a third one, but I didn't think it was gonna be about this. You see, because I honestly want to get off this topic of this whole Cynthia G bringing up the Brad on her channel. I mean, I didn't even know it was going to be this much surrounding that. Uh, I didn't think it was going to be this much. Like I said in my last video, I did not think we were going to have this much surrounding this crap because, quite frankly, when I originally made my first video talking about it, I wasn't even really. I was just simply addressing how much of a musty white male that dude was on her panel. I was mostly addressing this Brian dude, which I don't even believe his name was Brian, but that's a whole nother subject. Um, yeah, I was simply addressing that. I wasn't even really, I wasn't. I was just addressing him and his what I would say very strange behavior to be on such a platform in the first place. But I didn't think it was going to be that much conversation surrounding the whole thing. But here we are, and you know, to be honest, now that I kind of saw this coming. I did say, when I made my first video, I didn't think it was going to be this much around it. But now that I really sit back, it was in the back of my mind that this was going to be something that was going to try to be um made a big deal. Because I knew, the only reason Cynthia G even, had the dude on there and was talking to the dude and was asking him all types of questions and made a video about it was to, get a bunch of attention and to, start something. That's really what Cynthia G was trying to do when she did all that. I mean, I pretty much kind of had that in the back of my mind anyway, that was what was being done. She was trying to start stuff because you have to understand Cynthia G is a very miserable individual. I mean, at this point, it should be very evident. I mean, it should have been evident for quite some time now. I mean, when you have a woman who does nothing but talk about the black man this, the black man that, constantly talking about black men interracially dating. That's the main topic of what she talks about. If you look at her channel, if you examine her content, all it is black men interracially dating, yada yada yada. I mean, this is the focus that she has on her channel. It's very laughable. And I mean, I've already talked about it in plenty of my last videos. She tries to push her foolish narratives. I mean, all of her stuff has been debunked. I mean, her talking points have been, well, she doesn't really have any talking points, to be honest. But all the things she says, I would say, I guess I'll call them talking points. The things that she says have been debunked, have been deconstructed, and they've been destroyed. So that's not even what I want to address. I'm not here to talk about the stuff she talks about on her channel because, quite frankly, it's irrelevant and it's been debunked. And it's just, if you don't know what her channel is really about yet by now, then I don't know what to say. I might make a separate video about what her channel is really about, but you should already know what her channel really is about. She tries to say her channel is for all other types of whatever dumb reasons she tries to say her channel is for. It's not why what she says. The real reason, I can address that in another video. But for right now, I just want to address the foolishness that we're dealing with right now. The fact that we're sitting up here talking about death threats being sent to her. Now, do I believe she's getting death threats? No. And the reason I don't believe that she's actually getting death threats is because this whole thing was to just get attention in the first place. What you have to understand is she was doing this in mind to try to get a reaction from these niggas on YouTube, these black men on YouTube. She was trying to get a reaction, and I wouldn't say she got the reaction she really wanted. And the reason I say she didn't get the reaction that she wanted all the way is because if she did get the reaction that she wanted, she wouldn't be sitting up here saying she's getting death threats. Because you have to understand that I don't believe that she's actually getting death threats. I believe that that is something that she's making up in order to, try to reinforce this narrative that black men are mad that she had this Brian dude up there. Mostly what black men were doing, because I went ahead and, I wasn't going to do it at first, but once, all this stuff started, all the conversation, fuss about it was going on, I was like, let me go just look up let me look up, find videos of black men talking about it. And when I was listening to some videos of black men talking about it, it really wasn't any triggeredness. I mean, they're trying to make it seem like black men were triggered. I mean, dudes were simply giving their input on it. Like I said in my last video, I saw Jessica X's live stream on it. People were really just addressing her desperation for White Zaddy. No one was really mad about anything. They were really just addressing her, constant, her. They were really addressing her. I would say her constant, her constant ways to try to, I guess, attempt to disparage black men. That's basically what people were talking about. They were talking about her constant ways to try to disparage black men. They were talking about her constant attempts to do it in any shape, way, or form in order to, try to get reaction from black men. Because that's basically what she tries to do. That was what that whole thing was about. Bringing that Brad on there, having that Brad, so-called call into her show and talk, his stuff about black men. It was all to try to get a reaction out of black men. It was all to try to get somebody to be quote unquote triggered. That's the whole reason that she even did that video. Like I said, that was the only reason, was to try to get, a reaction, to try to get attention. Because, like I said, Cynthia G is a miserable individual. So when you have miserable people and people who are, miserable and don't get a lot of attention, people who don't get a lot of attention need to try to create things and events in order to get attention. This is why you will see, if you ever noticed, certain women who don't get a lot of attention, what you'll notice they'll do is they will be loud and obnoxious. Because what happens? Loud and obnoxious people are going to get attention because, well, they're most of the time they're going to get attention because, they're being loud and obnoxious, and they're going to get people to react to their loud and obnoxious behavior and be like, shut up or something. Even if they're getting negative attention, you have to understand, even if this person that is getting attention is getting negative attention, it is still good attention to them, because this loud and obnoxious person is just trying to get attention in the first place. So when you see people engaging in stuff like that, when they're trying to be loud and obnoxious, a lot of times those are people who don't get a lot of attention and who are trying to get attention. So when you see a synthetic G or a Cynthia G, whatever you want to call her, trying to get, always, going on about black men, black men, black men constantly, is because she's trying to get attention. Now, she can say she's not trying to get attention, but that's really what she's trying to do. Her motives is simply to get attention, because of the fact I don't believe she gets attention in her, like in her real life. I don't believe she gets attention like that. I don't believe she garners attention from men of any race. And this is really why Cynthia G is triggered. No, it's laughable she wants to say black men are triggered, because the real triggered one is Cynthia G. She is the triggered woman. I mean, look at her content. That is triggered content. Nobody can tell me that someone that engages in that behavior is not triggered. I mean, I'm not about to even argue with anybody right now. But yeah, this whole thing about black men, sending her death threats is very laughable. I don't believe it. I believe this is another way for her to continue this whole Brian, this whole. At this point, I'm gonna call it the Brian Chronicles. The Brian Chronicles. She's trying to keep the Brian Chronicles going. The Brian Chronicles, kind of are boiling down. Nobody cares. So she's trying to get people to care because the initial attempt was to get commentary on it. She got a good amount of commentary, but I believe she wasn't getting the reaction she wanted fully. So now she's saying, "Oh, I'm getting death threats" to try to get even more attention. And I'm here to tell you that I don't believe she's getting death threats. I believe it's another attempt for her to get attention. And I believe that some of y'all niggas is gonna fall for this shit. Y'all are gonna fall for it. And y'all are gonna fall for her saying she's getting death threats. And I'm gonna tell y'all what's coming down I'm gonna tell y'all what's coming next. Because since she sees that this is able to get some amount of, people to put a microscope on, the next thing that Cynthia G is gonna do. And if I'm right about it, I'm gonna make a video about it again. I mean, because if I'm right about it, I'm gonna come here and tell y'all I'm right. The next thing Cynthia G is gonna do that's coming next, I promise you it's coming next. Of course it's gonna come next because, like I said, she's miserable and she needs attention. And this is what people like that do. She's gonna go to this playbook again. The next play she's gonna run, if we're talking, I'm gonna use a football analogy. The next play she's gonna run, she just threw a Hail Mary pass. Let me not say Hail Mary pass, but let's just say she did a quick slant route. Wide receiver goes on a slant, boom, the slant route is successful, picks up about, let's say, 18 yards. Now, the offense is like, okay, that worked pretty good. Let's go ahead and let's try that slant route one more time. Why not? See if we can pick up the same amount of yards, if not more. So what Cynthia G is going to run next, her next play, is she's going to bring another Brad on her channel. Now, this time, it's going to be, initially, this whole thing was, a Brad called in. I believe that was set up, but that's a whole nother subject. But this time, she's going to bring a white dude on the panel. She's going to probably go and find some white supremacist white dude to bring on her channel and talk reckless about black men. That's going to be her next move. And it's going to, once again, now I believe this next one, a lot of people are going to talk about because it's going to be a blatant white supremacist. I promise you, it's coming down. It's what's coming next. She's going to bring a white dude on to talk reckless on black men. That's what's coming next. And yeah, that's what's coming next. She's going to bring a Brad on to talk reckless about black men. That's what's coming next. Because she just ran the slant route, picked up about 18 yards in her eyes. Now, in this case, like I said, I don't believe she got the attention she wanted, so that's why she's saying she's getting death threats. I don't believe she's getting death threats. But just for the sake of this video, and for the sake of the analogy, she ran a slant route, picked up 18 yards, and now she's gonna go ahead and try another slant route, and she's gonna bring another. This time, she's going to bring a white dude on her channel to talk reckless about black men. That is the next play she's gonna run. Because she's down bad. Cynthia G is miserable. She's down bad. She's down bad. Okay? She's down bad. Cynthia G is down bad. She's down bad. So she has to do this. She has to continuously try to get the attention of black men. Because like I said in my last video, if you didn't look at my last video, if you're watching this video, just go ahead and look at my last video. If not, whatever. But I was talking about, I was asking Cynthia G in that last video, where's Waldo? Where is your white king? Where's Waldo? If you talk all this stuff about black men, where is your white zaddy? Where is your white man? See, because, like I said, she doesn't get attention from no race of men. And this is why she's triggered. Nobody wants to deal with Cynthia G. Nobody. No race of men. Even the Brad, because she's going to do this. She's going to more frequently. I already know what's coming next. I mean, the only way I'm going to get word of this if I hear it from somebody else, because I'm not about to watch no goofy ass shit like that. The initial Brian thing, when she brought him on, I didn't even watch that whole video, because I mean, I don't care, bro. I don't care about her bringing up no white dude to talk reckless about black men, because none of those white dudes that she is, because that's what's coming next. Like I said, she's gonna bring more white dudes up, but none of those white dudes are gonna go to the black manosphere and try to engage black men in conversation. None of them are gonna try to engage me in conversation. They're not gonna try to engage black men in conversation. They're gonna go to women and talk about men. That's feminine because the white dudes she's bringing up are feminine men. They're not masculine men. And I said that in my very first video when I addressed the whole situation with that so-called Brian dude. He's a weak male. That's why I coined the term the musty white male. He's weak. So, she's gonna bring more feminine white men on her channel to talk about black men. Yeah, think about that. Men who go to women to talk about men. That's a feminine trait. But this is what we're dealing with in society as a whole anyway. A lot of feminine men in society anyway. So I'm not surprised that you have white men going up on a channel with women to talk about black men. Like I said in my first video when I talked about it, if I was a black man on a white woman's channel talking about white men, you would look at me kind of weird. If I'm a black man on a white woman's channel and her content consists of talking negative about white men, and I'm on her channel talking about white men, and I call into her channel and talk reckless of white men, then you would only assume that I'm a feminine dude. So, I mean, there's no way to debate that. None of you, like I said, a lot of you niggas just don't, y'all really, let me stop. Let me stop. A lot of these niggas are dumb, so I really don't take a lot of these dudes serious because they just don't make a lot of sense when they speak, man. They really just don't make a lot of sense. I mean, the stuff that they say, I understand a lot of these niggas. A lot of these niggas suffer from a lot of problems. That's a whole nother video in itself. When it comes to this mental illness that a lot of these niggas are suffering from. But like I said, that's what's coming next. Cynthia G is gonna bring up more feminine white dudes on her channel to talk records of black men. That's what's coming next because she wants to get as much attention as she can possibly get. Because you have to understand, like, for the most part, nobody really cares about what Cynthia G has to say. The most attention she probably gets is on social media. She's not getting attention in her real life, so this is what she has to do. And yeah, that's what's coming next. Is she's going to bring more musty white males on her platform. And if it happens again, I know I'm gonna get word of it because I'm gonna hear somebody talk about it. The only reason I'm talking about this with her getting death threats is I saw a black man. I'm just gonna say his channel. I watched some of his content. It's pretty cool. Red Supreme TV1. I saw him talk about it. Cynthia G saying she's getting death threats, and I'm like, I gotta talk about this because this is just getting out of hand. I mean, seriously, nobody's sending her death threats. She is only saying that because she's trying to get attention. She didn't get the attention that she wanted from the whole Brian situation. So what she's doing is she's trying to make up stuff and say she's getting death threats in order to try to get more to get the attention she would want to get or get more attention. That's what she's trying to do. Because it's very laughable because you have a Cynthia G who will sit up and say, "Oh, if these black men don't care, then why are they talking about it?" But this is the same individual who sits up on her channel and does nothing but talk about black men interracially dating, but then will turn around and say she doesn't care. So, stop. It's a lot of hypocrisy. She'll say she doesn't care about black men interracially dating, but most of her content consists of black men talking about black men interracially dating. So obviously she cares about that. If we're using her same logic, then she cares then because she's talking about it. But you can't use logic and reason with these type of individuals like Cynthia G because they're just dumb. These niggas are dumb. So yeah, that's pretty much all I gotta say. This whole her getting death threats is laughable. I don't believe it. Um oh, one more thing. I almost forgot. It's a good thing I almost forgot this. I almost forgot this. Um it's funny how she's saying that she's getting death threats. Um, you know, it's funny how she's saying that she's getting death threats. It's funny how she's saying she's getting death threats. But when she was it's funny how when she was because I believe so like I said, I watched some of her stuff, I guess. I never really watched Cynthia G, but I would see her content every now and then. And I remember, when around quite some time ago, she would talk about, I guess, the her content would focus around, it will focus around, white supremacy and problems when it comes to, systematic racism or whatever. That would be what she would talk about in a lot of her content, right? So I find it funny how she's talking about getting death threats, but around that time, around that time when she was talking about white supremacy and systematic racism, around that same time, she would actually get death threats from white dudes. White dudes would be sending her death threats. I remember that. So what I find to be funny is, and that was actually, they were actually sending her death threats, and how we know they were actually sending her death threats is because, you know, I find this to be laughable. I'm gonna say this one last thing, and I'm gonna go ahead and explain this picture on the screen, these words, and I'm gonna go and end this video. But I find it funny because she was getting death threats from white dudes. Now, when it comes to her claiming black men are sending her death threats, she's saying, "Oh, these black dudes are triggered. They're sending me death threats." But when white dudes were sending her death threats, can we go back in time and say that white men were triggered, by what you were saying, Cynthia? Can we say that white dudes were triggered and they were mad and angry and triggered? Can we say white dudes were triggered then, or is that same logic not going to apply? Of course it's not, because they don't go by logic. They're not these, like I said, these niggas are dumb. So white dudes are sending her death threats. Were they triggered? And then also, white dudes literally came together to get her channel removed. Now, I haven't seen black men come together to get her channel removed, because if they did, they really could. I mean, if black men were to come together and try to get Cynthia G's channel removed, it wouldn't be hard, because her content is hate-filled content. It'll be very easy to get her channel removed off of hate speech. It'll be very easy. But you notice black men have not come together to try to get her channel removed yet. And then let's say black men were to do that. You know what they're going to say? Oh, the black men were triggered by our content. Well, white men got Cynthia G's channel removed. So were they triggered? So I guess they're all in the same boat, right? I guess the white men and the black men are all in the same boat when it comes to getting her channel removed. If that were to happen. If Cynthia G's channel were to get removed. I'm going to tell y'all this also. If Cynthia G's channel would ever get removed, just know that they're going to be like, black men were triggered by our content. But they're not going to say, oh, well, they're not going to look back and say how white men were triggered by her content and got her channel removed. They're not going to talk about that. They're going to say black men were triggered, but they're going to say black men were triggered, but they're not going to talk about how white men were triggered and got her channel removed. White men got her channel removed. Black men have not tried to do that yet. And if they do, they're going to say, oh, they were triggered, yada, yada, yada. But they're not going to talk about how white men were triggered about her content and got it removed. So, they're going to continue to try to, push narratives and try to say black men are triggered. But, at the end of the day, it's very laughable because, the fact that we're sitting up here saying someone's sending death threats when, white men were sending her death threats back then. I'm not going to talk about that. But the fact we're saying black men are sending her death threats is laughable, because I just don't believe it. They haven't really shown any evidence. I haven't seen any evidence here of late. And even if they do show evidence, I just don't believe these niggas, because I know how these women will make fake accounts and act like a black man and, act like they're threatening Cynthia G. And the reason I know that is because it's been exposed before, and I've seen it where there's been a black women making fake accounts acting like black dudes and saying dumb stuff. The same thing with white dudes. There were actually black women making fake accounts and acting like white men and going in comment sections and acting like they're white dudes and trying to act like they're praising black women. I mean, this is the stuff they do. So I know these niggas, man. I know these niggas. I know how far they will go. And the only reason they're going to go this far and do all this extra stuff is because they don't have a life. They're miserable. Miserable people do this stuff. They sit around, make fake profiles and all this goofy stuff. You see black men doing this too, making goofy fake profiles and stuff. Black women making goofy fake profiles. You niggas are messed up, man. You black men and you black women are messed up. And y'all want to sit around and throw y'all dysfunction at each other and act like, oh, it's all black men, oh, it's all black women. No, both of you niggas are fucked up. But that's a whole nother subject for another video. I'm gonna go ahead and end this video. The picture on the screen with these words on the screen. Go ahead and explain this, and I'm gonna go ahead and get off this video. To just end everything, I don't believe she's getting death threats. I believe that's all false. But to end, I don't believe it. I don't believe she's getting death threats from black men. I don't believe it. Now, to end this video and explain what's on the screen, the words on the screen, the picture on the screen. Go and explain the words on the screen. Confidence is silent. Insecurities are loud. Now, you might be wondering, if you don't know what that means yet, why I have it on the screen. You might be wondering, what does that mean? Confidence is silent, insecurities are loud. Well, let's start with the first. Confidence is silent. Most of the time, confident people are silent. Confident people who are confident in themselves don't talk a lot. Or I wouldn't even say they don't talk a lot, but they don't. Confident people don't go around having to try to boast, on other people. So if you're a confident dude, you're not trying to boast. You're not trying to flex. When you see people who are trying to flex on other people, like let's say a dude has a Bugatti and he drives by a dude in a Toyota Corolla. No offense to people who drive Toyota Corollas, of course, those are good cars. But I'm just saying, a Bugatti is obviously higher in value than a Toyota Corolla. So to me, it looks better than a Toyota Corolla. It has more stuff in it, of course. That's not debatable. It has way more features, a lot more stuff in it, faster, all that. So let's say a guy in a Bugatti drives by a guy in a Toyota Corolla. And the guy in the Bugatti is trying to flex on the guy in the Toyota Corolla. Now, the guy in the Bugatti, if he is trying to flex on a dude in Toyota Corolla, if you're trying to flex on somebody, period, a lot of times those are insecure people. What they want to do is they want to use the material things to try to uplift their low self-esteem. So when you have a guy in a Bugatti trying to flex on a guy in a Toyota Corolla, it's because that guy in the Bugatti is trying to use his material gain he had, his material thing he has, which is Bugatti. He's trying to use his material asset, which is that Bugatti, to flex on the guy in the Toyota Corolla, because the guy in the Toyota Corolla's car is not as great as that Bugatti. So what he's trying to do is he's trying to be like, oh, look, I got a Bugatti. I got a Bugatti Veyron, and you got a Toyota Corolla. My car better than yours. I'm a flex on you. I'm better than you. Those are normally people who are insecure. A confident dude in the Bugatti, he's gonna drive by a dude in a Toyota Corolla, and he ain't even gonna pay him no mind, because he's confident and he's silent in his confidence. The only thing you gonna hear is that engine roar. You ain't gonna hear him talking all types of reckless stuff or trying to act like he flexing on a dude in Toyota Corolla. He gonna be smooth with it, rolling and cruising. That's a confident man. Now, an insecure man, like I just said with my example, is gonna be in that Bugatti Veyron trying to flex on the guy in Toyota Corolla. That's not a confident man. Confident men don't do that. Now, I use that example to say, if you have the guy in the Toyota Corolla and he doesn't care about the guy flexing in the Bugatti Veyron, then it really isn't even a flex. You can't flex on somebody really if they don't care. Why am I saying that? When that Brian dude got up on CTG's panel to try to, talk reckless on black men, he was trying to flex. Now what happens is, and that's what a lot of these musty white males are trying to do on social media, because I see an influx of these savages. So, what I see is these dudes are trying to flex or try to say they're better than they're trying to flex on black men or something. These are insecure, low self-esteem, musty white males trying to do this. But what happens is, if black men say they don't care, and okay, cool, whatever, say what you want to say, laughing at the dudes, what happens is it's no longer a flex, because you can't flex on somebody who doesn't care. So what happens is now the musty white male is going to rage and he's going to get belligerent. That's what you're going to also see. If you start seeing black men, and what you black men should do is, when these musty white males try to talk reckless, just do not even care. Their response to you is going to be insults, emotional reactions, because these are feminine men, these musty white males. Now, I'm not talking about all white men, of course. I'm talking about the musty white male. That's why I coined this term. It's the musty white male who's doing this stuff. These are low self-esteem men, and they go to social media and talk about black men all the time. That Brian dude is the type of dude who's sitting online, focused on black men. That's why he said it when he called in, supposedly, allegedly, he called in saying that, oh, he watches Cindy G's content. If you're a white dude watching Cindy G's content and her content focuses on black men, that means you are obsessed with black men. There's something off with that. There's no debating that. There's something off with that. So what you have to understand is, these are not confident people. A confident person is silent. A confident person doesn't try to go around and try to make a lot of noise. A confident person ain't doing all that. So a Cynthia G, she's not confident. And we know this because she's always talking loud, trying to get her voice out here heard. And she's trying to do it in a negative way. She's trying to she constantly goes around talking about black men interracially dating because she's not confident in herself. Cynthia G suffers from a lot of insecurities, and that takes us to this next line: is insecurities are loud. Insecurities are loud. So when you see a synthetic G, a dirty tennis ball G, a Wigatron G, whatever you want to call her. Side note before I talk about this, that Tariq Nasheed video, I think it was Tariq Nasheed that made the video where he was made that video where he was where he was doing like it was like a song or something. It was like the bang. Oh my, that was some funny ass shit, man. That was funny. That Bayang video. If ain't none of y'all saw that, that was some funny ass shit. I was dying listening to that. I was cracking up laughing. The bang. That was so funny. That was some funny shit, man. That was hilarious. But besides that, insecurities are loud. So insecurities are loud. People who are insecure mostly have to make their voice heard, or they try to be loud. And that's later earlier in the video, and I was talking about people who don't get a lot of attention. What they do is they're loud because they don't get a lot of attention. They're insecure. So what they have to do is they have to be loud and obnoxious in order to get heard. So insecurities are loud. Insecurities are loud. People who are insecure have to be loud in order for them to try to get attention because they're insecure. Cynthia G is an insecure, miserable woman. And a lot of her content, or a lot of her followers are insecure, miserable women. They run around talking about they done divested and all this, but they so focused on this black male. They're so focused on this black man. They are obsessed with this black man. They are obsessed with black men. They are obsessed with this black man. Normal people do not engage in this behavior. Do y'all not understand this? Normal people, happy people don't engage in this behavior. Like, if you were to see me running around making constant, endless, goofy videos about, let's say, I don't know, scratch that. At the end of the day, these people they're very insecure. A lot of these women that watch Cynthia G are miserable. They're alone, and they're quite frankly, they're just crusty. So this is what they have to do. They have to try to get black men's attention and try to make it seem like black men are mad about anything, any and everything, because they don't have anything else to do. They don't have anywhere else to go. They don't have anybody giving them attention. So Cynthia G, the only attention she can get is from social media. This is the only place she can try to get any attention. Men are not giving her attention in real life. Men are not giving her looks out in public. Men are not approaching her. And how we know this is because if they were, she wouldn't be engaging in this goofy ass behavior. Insecurities are loud. Confidence is silent. That's just what it is. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and end this video, man. I kind of went on a little bit longer than I wanted to, but I had to just go ahead and give that analogy and really just push the envelope to y'all that this is not making no sense. Black men sending her death threats is not happening. It's all just false, and it's not happening. I don't believe it. For 1 second, I don't believe it. But yeah, it's just not. I don't believe it. I don't believe she's getting death threats. I don't believe she's getting death threats. I don't believe that she's getting dudes out here talking about they trying to dox her. I don't believe it. I don't believe dudes are out here trying to find her address or trying to dox her and all. I don't believe that's happening. I don't believe that's happening. I don't believe that dudes are doing that. No, don't get me wrong. These niggas be doing a lot of fucked up shit on the internet. You black men and you black women. Y'all be doing some dumbass shit. So I don't believe it's happening, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was happening. Like if there were actual like evidence to show, I wouldn't be shocked. But at the same time, I don't believe it. And the only reason I don't believe it is because I believe that she's just trying to get attention. She's trying to get more attention with this whole Brian thing. I mean, this has been going on for what, a week now? I mean, come on, man. I didn't even want to make this video. Well, once I heard about the death threats, I was like, man, I gotta address this. But I was done. After the last video I just did, I was done with this whole thing. My next video is actually gonna be the mental illness that these broads are suffering from, because I've been saying I need to read this document about the mental illness that these niggas are suffering from. But this has been on a lot of postponed because a lot of the drama in these YouTube streets, because you niggas have to be embroiled in drama continuously, because this is what y'all niggas got nothing else to do but be in constant beef and drama. Black men and black women constantly beefing. And I'm about to end this video because I'm about to say something I shouldn't say. At the end of the day, I don't believe it. I don't believe she is getting death threats. I don't believe it. I don't believe that people are sending her death threats. I don't believe it. I don't believe that she's getting doxxed. I don't believe that she's getting people saying they're trying to find her address. I don't believe people are sending her death threats. I don't believe it. So yeah, I just don't. So yeah, I don't believe it. I'm gonna go ahead and end this video. But what I'm gonna tell y'all, like I said, is if what I'm gonna tell y'all, I'm gonna tell y'all, I'm gonna tell y'all, if what I said in this video comes to fruition, and that is, she brings more musty white males, feminine white men on her channel, I'm definitely going to do commentary on it. I'm definitely gonna talk about it because I'm gonna have to say I told y'all so. I'm gonna have to come back and say I was right. But if she does do it, which I know she's gonna do actually, because I can predict the actions of this Negro. I know these niggas. So I know that her next move is to bring more white men on her channel because I know the way that these niggas think. I at this point I've literally, once I found this Black Sector YouTube and I started to look at a lot of the stuff these niggas are doing, I really started to get interested in psychology. I really wasn't interested in psychology before, but now after seeing the mental illness with these niggas, I have really, really, really started to look in psychology, and it's almost as if I can predict what people do. I know Cynthia G is gonna bring more musty white men on her channel. I know she is because I know how these niggas think. So, there's not even a matter of if she's gonna do it. It's just when. And when she does, I'm gonna come back and say I told y'all so. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna come back and say, hey, I told y'all she was gonna do it. Because I know she's gonna do it. I know she's gonna do it. So I'm gonna come back and tell y'all that I told y'all she was gonna do it. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and like I said, I'm gonna end this video. My next video, hopefully, is gonna be about this document I'm gonna have to read off. And yeah, I'll be back when she brings more musty white men to her channel because I know she's gonna do it. And I'm gonna tell y'all I told y'all so. That's the end of this video though. I'm out.